Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
New mask. Same task. What can I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Holy mother of God. Robert Downey Jr. is back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and will play Victor Von Doom, aka Dr. Doom in Avengers 5, which has now been retitled to Avengers Doomsday. My goodness, man, tonight's Hall H was absolutely bonkers, and Marvel is just going all out. I mean, we saw Harrison Ford, Giancarlo Esposito, and now Robert Downey Jr. all appear in the same night for the same studio. It is actually crazy. Yes, there might be some fans who wouldn't like this decision because the send-off that RDJ got as Iron Man was literally perfect. So to come back again is like risking it all. So there has to be a compelling story and a very good plot. Now here's how I see this. The Marvel Cinematic Universe began with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. He's the reason a simple Marvel Studios movie turned into a whole freaking cinematic universe. And now he will play this dangerous billionaire villain in 2 consecutive movies, which will basically cement the ending of Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. So RDJ, who started it all, will literally be the one who will end it all. And I find something really poetic about that. But if you think this was a wrong decision out of desperation from Marvel, well, keep watching this video because I might be able to change your opinion. Now, the Russo brothers are also coming back, who will be directing Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And yes, Stephen McFeely is also coming back to write both of these movies. He co-wrote Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. So that's quite the resume there. And I hope Christopher Marcus also comes back, as this duo has really given us one of the best comic book movies in entire Hollywood history. Now, Joe Russo, just before introducing Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, said, "If we are gonna bring Victor Von Doom to the screen, he's one of the more complex characters in all of comics and potentially one of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna bring him to the movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're gonna need the greatest actor in the world to play that character." And then RDJ revealed himself as Dr. Doom in Dr. Doom's costume. And I absolutely agree with what Joe said. I don't see this as a desperate move or a Disney cash grab moment. And trust me, I do call out Disney when it's necessary. I know the type of an actor Robert Downey Jr. is. If he didn't feel it's okay to come back, I don't think he would have returned. Yes, money is a factor at the end of the day, as this is a business, but also, don't you think it just fits right to see him up on that stage as the greatest villain that has ever come out in all of comic books? Now a question arises, how can the greatest superhero and the greatest villain in the same universe have the same face? Well, there's actually a few possible explanations there, and Deadpool and Wolverine has one of the answers. If that movie taught us one thing about the multiverse, that is, the same person can have a different face, or different people can have the same face. So having the same physical appearance isn't gonna be an issue. And Dr. Doom mostly hides behind an iron mask, because he once invented a machine to communicate with his deceased mother from beyond the grave. But the machine backfired and caused a scratch on his chin. But his vanity and ego made him think he was completely disfigured. He then traveled the world and eventually came upon a small village of monks who assisted him in creating a suit of armor. And out of haste, he put on the mask when he was still hot and burned his face forever. So if anything, Dr. Doom has no weakness except Dr. Doom's own ego. Another reason I'm so excited is because Robert Downey Jr. was so deeply invested into the Tony Stark character that he almost became the character and the character became him. I mean, if you ask any Marvel fan, it'd be next to impossible to distinguish the differences between Tony Stark and RDJ. So this is like an actual challenge for him, whether he'll be able to come out of the character Tony Stark and go deeper into the character of Doctor Doom. And I believe an actor of his caliber will surely bring justice to that. Plus, it kind of completes the circle, because there used to be a time when Loki was a villain, but now he's the reason the multiverse is sustaining. And RDJ, who's the greatest hero to ever grace the MCU, will now go on to become the greatest villain to ever come from the MCU. And just the mere possibility of Tom Holland's Peter Parker going up against a villain that practically looks like his mentor Tony Stark is enough to go to the theater and have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Because don't forget, when you bring such a strong and powerful villain like Doctor Doom and such an important actor like RDJ to play him, the harder it's gonna be for the heroes to defeat him. And that opens the door for the writers to write new character arcs for the already existing superheroes. So even though on paper it may look like Marvel is kind of recycling the same actors, but in reality it raises the bar way too high now. And if you think about why Avengers Infinity War and Endgame worked so well with the audience, is because Marvel kept teasing Thanos since Avengers 1. The audience had an ample amount of time and movies to get to know the character before the big reveal in Infinity War. And now having RDJ, the actor we love the most from the MCU, coming back to play Doctor Doom will just give us, the audience, an opportunity to connect to the character in a far greater way than it would have if it was played by some new actor. And Doctor Doom is not a simple character to play, so any new actor would either hit it or miss it. And if they do miss it, it's game over for Marvel, because the next two Avengers movies are essentially based around this single villain. So Marvel had to go for an actor who the audience will not only connect to, but also bring justice to the character. And RDJ has an Oscar now, and anyone who has seen his role in Oppenheimer can never doubt his acting ability to play a villain. And RDJ has said time and time again that he does not want to be remembered just for playing one single character. So this is his opportunity to show the world that with his acting range he could bring Tony Stark to life, and now he will bring Doctor Doom to life. Now, as far as how could they introduce Doom in the MCU, well, I have a couple of theories. Doctor Doom in the comics is a major Fantastic Four villain, primarily Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. In fact, he has internalized his rivalry with Mr. Fantastic to such an extent he cannot exist without it. And now we have official confirmation from Hall H that Fantastic Four First Steps will start filming this week, and will take place in an alternate retrofuturistic 1960s, not the Sacred Timeline. And it has also been revealed that Galactus will be the main villain of this movie. So my theory is, in next year's Fantastic Four, Galactus will literally devour the universe the Fantastic Four is set in. As a result, the heroes from this timeline might travel to the Sacred Timeline as a desperate attempt to save themselves. And along with them, we may see Victor Von Doom entering Earth 616. Marvel also has some other comic iterations where Tony Stark and Doctor Doom literally switch characters. For example, in What If Iron Man Demon in an Armor issue number 1, instead of Reed Richards, Tony Stark was now Doom's roommate in college. Annoyed by Stark's behavior, Doom eventually sees Stark's research and asks for his help with the project because he fears losing his scholarship. Now Stark helps, but Doom later traps him to switch minds. And when security arrives, Doom, aka the real Tony Stark, loses his memory and is taken away. So now Doom is stuck in Tony's body while Tony is stuck in Doom's body. And over time, both Doom and Stark become successful in their respective industries. And when Doom's new arc reactor threatens Stark's business, Stark sabotages it and destroys Doom Industries. And that's when Stark reveals to Doom that Doom is actually the real Tony Stark, while Tony Stark is the real Doom. The real Doom then offers to give Tony his life back, but Tony refuses, saying the Stark name is now ruined and he will continue living as Victor Von Doom. Now that's quite an interesting turn of events, eh? And this is just one version of the comic. There are a few more iterations where Tony Stark and Victor face each other, so there's plenty of source material to work with. So let me know what you think they will do with Doctor Doom, and which comic storyline would be ideal for adapting him to the big screen. I hope I've addressed any concerns you might have had about Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the MCU. If you're still not sure or disagree with the choice, but one thing is undeniable: there is no way you won't watch this movie. And that speaks volume of what RDJ brings to the table. And if you think about it, Hugh Jackman returned as Wolverine after 7 years, and now Robert Downey Jr. will come back after 7 years as well, albeit as a different character. And don't you think an actor like Robert Downey Jr. deserved to come back in a grand way? If he had come back for some cheeky cameos here and there, that would have ruined his legacy. But the way he's returning now, I don't think this does anything to the send-off he has had as Iron Man. Now lads, please give me a thumbs up if you agree with the points I've raised in this video, grab the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get updates about my videos. Till then, I'm Dave Chappelle, and I'll see you lads in the next one.